2023, a horror film that you shouldn't watch alone. Yuk Dao has finally arrived. He consists of 3 short stories about the headless cat losing its gun. The entire process of this film is high energy. Suggest watching with your big friends E.T. Today is the engagement between AU and a wealthy young man, but because the door is not right. Wrong household. He was written useless by Gossip Weekly, and AU seems to have some concerns too. I drank a lot of alcohol one after another. After the party ends, 2 people driving away. Unexpectedly, the unscrupulous paparazzi still catch up. Facing them is a chaotic shooting. To get rid of the paparazzi, the fiancé made a sharp turn and drove to the viaduct. Due to excessive speed, I drank a lot of alcohol again. Ayu couldn't help but sigh and vomit in his head. Suddenly, there's another 72 ahead. Seeing the situation, the direction of the fierce attack is too close to the distance between the 2 cars. Accidental or, the driver of the garbage truck is listening to the high song, completely unaware of the accident that just occurred. Not long after, the driver seems to have heard some movement in the carriage. Stop and take a look. I don't know how the loaded garbage fell off one place. The driver had no choice but to get off the car and pick it up. But at this moment, a sound came from behind. The driver looked around in confusion. A woman picked up all the garbage from the car. The cat is flipping inside with its waist down. What are you looking for? Hey, miss. Whatever it looks like is garbage. Next second, the woman slowly stood up. Strangely, she didn't even have a brain. Where have drivers seen such scenes before? I almost scared myself to pee. Quickly ran back into the car and fled the scene. And that woman is not someone else. It was AU who had his head cut off. His soul is chasing after him. Found the head, then came to Kowloon Funeral Home. Put your head back next to your body. The host of the funeral home is called Art. She not only has innate yin and yang eyes, I can still hear the voice of my soul. If you hear the bell in a moment, it's just that the ghost lord is here to catch you, take you away. And then they took it away. Just avoid it. He knows that Aru has unfinished business, so kindly reminded him to avoid the ghost trap. Not long after, a man walked into the morgue with a dull gaze. He looked at AU with sadness, completely unaware that Ayu's soul was hiding behind him, staring at him with tears in his eyes. The man's name is Achan. It's the junior owner of the funeral home. The 2 were childhood sweethearts. Later, Ayu went abroad to study abroad. Before leaving, he asked his sister to hand over the address to Achan. But since my sister and Sean got along, often ignoring him makes my sister jealous, so he just tore off the note. That's it. A pair of family members were torn apart alive. The 2 also completely lost contact. Unexpectedly, after many years. Goodbye. First love is already separated by yin and yang. Achan came to the rooftop alone. He personally made a special wedding ring. Just as Achan shed painful tears, Ayu couldn't help but reach out to help him dry. Perhaps it was their true feelings that moved heaven. Achan can finally see Ayu. 2023, a horror film that you shouldn't watch alone. Yuk Dao has finally arrived. The film consists of 3 stories. Meet the different needs of different groups of people. The demand for genre horror films. High energy ahead. Please fasten your seatbelt. These people are too brave. Still playing mahjong in the funeral home in the middle of the night. What they don't know is, a few gamblers have already taken notice. They haven't been long. A few people feel the soreness in their necks. Fortunately, the sound of mahjong, the art of Milan with yin and yang eyes. Black immediately noticed something was wrong. The gambler has already ridden his neck. A few people were scared and quickly fled. Only the landlady from the neighboring paper shop still looks confused. The landlady has a niece named Ziyuing. Deliver goods with him at the funeral home every day. Smile is like a book, having innate yin and yang eyes, but his courage is still very small. Every time I see a Piao, I feel very scared. He works at his uncle's paper binding shop, although he's doing all the dirty and tiring work. But it can also be considered as having a good future in life. Her best friend in Movierecaps, Xiaobai Zirong, will be in the alley every day. That night, Xiaobai goes out to play mahjong, almost tripped over Zirbai job. He flew into a rage, threatening to raise the innocent, but I have to feel my throat rise for nothing. After my aunt left, Zirong came out in time to comfort him. They are both fallen people from afar. She can feel Zirbei's loneliness and desolation. On the other side, my aunt lost a lot of money at the casino. He was so angry that he was eating at the snack stand. But I accidentally heard the conversation between the couple behind me. If you want to transfer, first plant a cat. This is a folk saying in Hong Kong. Put the cat in the coffin for him to catch. And every day he worships him. It is said that this way we can get him money. After hearing this, my aunt firmly believed it. Go back and take action on Zirbai. My aunt came home. Hastily asked her husband to bring the coffin. Hardly seal Zirbai inside for a beautiful appearance. Here Xiao Bei's wail. But there's nothing I can do about it. I can only hide helplessly by the side and cry. This method is indeed effective. That very evening, my aunt won money at the casino. Win and cramp your hand. Zirong shed tears and picked up Zirbei bell. Suddenly, something strange has happened. The bell in my hand was uncontrollably remembered. That's right. Zirong has possessed Zirbei's soul. My aunt came home, seeing Zirong sitting on the workbench most of the night. seems to be mending something. My aunt came forward and called him, but I found that my beautiful face had always been obedient to adversity. No reaction at all. Wait for him to chase out. Only then did I realize that the coffin of the cat was already locked, was flipped over. Xiaobai has also disappeared from sight. The next day, Zirong cooked a table of dishes. Then he turned around and became a paper uncle. The two just took a bite. I suddenly felt something was wrong. The food was covered in black hair. They quickly drank red wine and gargled their mouths. Who knows that red wine is not clean either? Two people sprayed a table, and then he collapsed on the table, simultaneously with, "Hideyoshi, turn the paper figurine you've grabbed." This is what they look like. The two of them were greatly frightened. Because Zirong tied their souls into paper figures, this means they will be scared out of their wits. Zirong took two paper figures outside, then light it with a candle. The paper man couple can only watch as the paper man is burned. Under the light of the fire, Zirong reveals Zirbei's shadow. This is definitely the best Hong Kong-style horror film to watch in recent years. It consists of 3 independent stories, released in 2023, has received numerous positive reviews from horror film fans. Ai Ying, the makeup artist of the funeral home, is informal. He's an atheist. "What are you saying to the corpse for righteousness?" Auntie patted Art's shoulder from behind. "Don't slap someone on the shoulder." "Why? Have you never heard of anyone having 3 fires? You slapped someone on the shoulder. If you shoot it out, something will happen." "Uncle, why are you so superstitious?" After being opposed to education in a book, Ai Ying can finally go home from work. But suddenly a ghost hand reached out and tripped her over. The contents of the bag were scattered all over the ground. Just as he was hurriedly tidying up, a bespectacled man reached out his hand to help her. Ai Ying is very vigilant. Decisively refused the stranger's help. The man watched as Ai Ying left behind, gave a strange look. Auntie returns home, discovered that the house had been decorated. A friend came to celebrate his birthday. At this point, my friend suddenly smelled a strange smell on Ai Ying's body. He also came to the funeral home. Hurry up and ask a few people to sit down and take a shower before coming out. My friend suddenly saw a girl dressed as a student at the door. They thought it was a friend brought by Ai Ying. I want him to come over and play together, but never expected. He's not even a human. After taking a shower with Ai Ying, he came out. My friends have already been scared away. He wants to use his phone to call a friend. Turns out I just picked up an extra phone. A girl claiming to be the owner of her phone sent her a message. Ai Ying originally wanted to return his phone to him, but the girl asked her to keep it for now. The two of them talked for a long time like this. The girl claims to be RMEI. He asked Ai Ying to help find something very important. If not found, he won't be able to go home. Ai Ying wants to help others to the end. I readily agreed. The two agreed to meet at the overpass, after he was buried. But I didn't see May's figure. At this moment, May sent a video. He immediately followed up. He invited the dilapidated roller shutter. Ai Ying couldn't help but feel a little scared in her heart. His curiosity still triumphed over everything. He boldly ventured in. Inside is a chopping board for chopping meat. It should be a butcher's booth. Strangely enough, RMEI is not actually inside. Just as Ai Ying was searching around, a hand came out of the freezer. He carefully opened the cabinet door. There's actually a female corpse hidden inside. It's obvious. This is Ami's body. At this moment, a sound came from the door. Ying quickly hid himself. "Come." The person is a man with glasses. He dragged a heavy snakeskin bag into the house, and then threw the woman heavily on the chopping board. Turns out he's a twisted killer. The girl he just mentioned has already been killed by him. Taking advantage of the glasses, the man dismembered the body. Ying find the right time. Prepare to sneak out. Due to being too scared, accidentally hit the door frame. Glasses man reacted. He took a shortcut to block the way, killing with just one punch. Wait for Ying to wake up. I found my hands and feet already tied up. There is a strange deity on the side. There are still several keys hanging on it. The thing RMEI asked him to look for is very likely his key. Ying desperately wants to get it, but I stumbled over the rope on my feet. The man with glasses was frantically tugging at the rope. He struggled to break free from the constraints on his hands. Tearing, he pulled the key off the man's neck with glasses. He kicked him in the right direction. Just when the glasses man wanted to kill him, the snakeskin bags on the ground suddenly smashed into the man with glasses. One of them twisted into a rope. Hang the man with glasses high in the air. The undead below pulled the fierce demon hard and died on the spot. The crisis has finally been resolved. May also hung up the last message. "You helped us retrieve the keys. Now I can finally go home." The end of the story. May's soul brings the key home. "I had my last meal with my grandmother." That's what she insisted on. The reason for wanting to retrieve the key, because there is still the most important person waiting for him. This film consists of 3 short and concise stories. The first story, good, but it's simple and rough. The ending turned out to be a poignant love story. The second story is quite terrifying, whether it's art style or styling. There is a cause, there is a result, but it feels like the cost is a bit too serious. It should be called the Ghost Cut Incident. It's already exciting at the beginning. Unexpectedly, the man I met on the road turns out to be a perverted homicide maniac. The ending is quite touching. Kind-hearted granddaughter, even if it turns into a ghost, still kind-hearted.